So the question is about how do you how do you go about who you work with in the records? And by this, because I know that this is actually a student of mine asking this question. So let me just talk about this just real quick here. So essentially, when you learn how to access the Akashic records, there's two there's two things that you two paths that you take for. The first is you learn how to open your own records. The second is you learn how to open the records for other. And when I say other, I don't mean just other people. I mean other flows of energy that are not you. And there, in both of those, there is a process to access it. There's agreements that you make that provide an ethical framework for you to do this work, right? So, for example, in opening for other people, you never open unless you're asked, and you never offer, right? And you stick to that. Then there's also then a protocol for other energy that's what I call non-human, right? Like if you're dealing with energy flows that are not human, how do you go about that? Which is essentially, how do you go about getting, being asked and, to open something, which that's what I help students with. There's a protocol for that, which is something that you do with your own Akashic records. So that means that then you're abiding by the agreements, you're following the process for opening, and there's definite energetic reasons for that process. And you then have, when it comes to non-human energy, there's a lot of different aspects within the Akashic records that you can work with, that you have permission. So, like, for example, today I've opened the records of the founders of the Akashic Records. So that's an aspect of the Akashic Records that works really well for me. And I've had a lot of experience. I know what I know what I'm getting into, if you will. And so to know, first of all, to know when to open one aspect versus the other is something that comes through experience. It comes through, multiple times of opening the different aspects. So, like, for example, in my courses and classes and stuff, there's a lot of different aspects. So we work with the founders of the Akashic Records. We work with the Hall of Ancient Wisdom. We work with the Hall of Ancient Wisdom is also like the founders. It's like opening the records of the records. With the Hall of Ancient Wisdom, the emphasis is a little more on that concept of ancient wisdom. There is Ancient Mother. Ancient Mother is like the progenitor energy of humanity. There's Mother Earth and Planet Earth. That's like opening the records of both the spiritual and physical aspects of the planet at the same time. Another entity that we work with a lot is Akasha, which is essentially, well, I call it the supreme organizing principle. So it is essentially the part of the energy, or the flow of energy that we are all created from. And so what happens as a student is that you're having different experiences at different times working with those different aspects. And the more you do it, the more you begin to understand that, there's slight nuances there. And you may even also be sort of developing a particular relationship that, when you go to open the records, you're like, yeah, I want to connect with Ancient Mother today about this. Ancient Mother is really good for things that have things to do with, like, say, ancestral issues, how humanity interacts with the planet, just the history. I mean, I said ancestral, but the history of humanity. I mean, there's a lot more there with Ancient Mother. She's also really good at things that are related to like what I think of as Genesis creative energy, like the origins of creative energy, and onward. And at the same time, other people, other students may have different experiences with different aspects.